This is a guide for the Thurifer and the Misa Cantata. 10 minutes before Mass, the server should arrive, light the coals, which is expected as a prerequisite that he knows how to do that. And then the procession begins. He leads the procession with the boat bearer at his left without swinging. The thurible maybe just a little bit to keep it going, genuflex, and then leads the processional off to the right, the long route, and then up to the Creedence table, where he will stand and swing the thurible left to right in front of him just so slightly that it keeps the coals burning nice and hot, and he'll face towards the people as he waits. And he will stay there. Also, the common way to hold the thurible when just waiting is to hold it with your left hand and keep your right hand on your chest. And he will wait there until the MC comes to get him after the prayers at the foot. After the prayers at the foot of the altar, the MC will come and get the Thurifer. And as he sees him making that approach, it's best to start getting ready. And also the Thurifer is pretty much in charge of the boat boy as well. And when the MC can't remind servers, he needs to do that on his behalf. So to tell the Acolyte one to get the book, get ready for the book, the Thurifer takes the thurible and lifts the lid for the priest to put on incense and keeps it lifted until the priest does the sign of the cross for the blessing. And then he can lower it again and hand the thurible to the MC. Then the Thurifer goes around the priest to his left and genuflects on the left side of the priest as they do incense, holding his elbow with his right hand. Thurifer follows the priest, as you'll see in the video. First it will be to the right on the top of the altar, then he'll sense the right side. He'll continue to cross the altar again and sense, anytime there's a cross, there has to be a genuflection. You will sense the rest of the top and the left side, and then you'll sense the front on the way back. After the genuflection here, when they cross, after rising from that, the Thurifer should leave and go around the MC to end up on his right. The MC will make enough room, both bow together for the incensation of the priest. After the incensation, the MC will hand the thurible to the Thurifer, who will then go, and it's acceptable to hang it on the rack there. leave it there until it's time for the gospel procession. Also, again, the thurifer should usually be in charge of the servers while they're at their seat. So when it's time to sit, he will sit and the servers should follow his lead. The sitting will come at the epistle. after the sequence or the singing of the Alleluia verse, if there's no sequence, the Thurifer will begin the procession lineup for the gospel by roping in the boat bearer does have to go because there's an imposition on the other side of incense. He'll take the or he'll make sure that the acolytes have the torches as well, because if they don't, it's technically his fault. It's his job to make sure they're all ready, and then he will lead them down. The boat bearer will follow him, then AC2, and then AC1. That way they end up in such a way that when the MC brings down the missile, they're all nice and square lined up. And then they'll genuflect together. Then the Thurifer leads the long route while the MC takes the short route straight up to the corner of the altar. And then also make sure that the acolytes are in place, as you see here, just as they should be. Open the thurible for the priest to impose incense. You will again make the blessing, and then after the sign of the cross or the incense is made, you can lower the thurible lid and then hand the thurible to the MC. After the gospel, after the incensation of the gospel book, the MC will hand it back, and you will wait until afterwards, and then the MC will lead you back in a way that is directly the opposite of the way you came, and then go for sitting during the homily. And during the homily is when the Thurifer will replace the coal and put a new one in, so that there will be plenty of smoke during the offertory and everybody can choke. After the MC leads the acolytes with the water and wine for the offertory, the Thurifer and boat bearer should be getting ready to come and impose incense. Then, after this part, see that the MC will lead the servers back to the credence table, and help them put the stuff back, and then right after that he will come, usually look and maybe give you a bow, and you'll come through the little doorway there, and he will lead you over just like the first time the altar was incensed to impose incense, which is now. So most of this follows the exact same procedure. The blessing is a little bit longer here. Should make note of that. The formula is longer. So again, you'll open the thurible lid. You'll put in incense and bless it. And then close the thurible, hand it to the MC. A priest will take it from him, and you will go around his left, or the priest's left, and wait for the incensation of the gifts. There is no genuflection before incensing the gifts. It's only before the cross and the tabernacle that happens. Remember to grab his elbow every time you genuflect with him at the altar, always on the right knee. And again, this incensation of the altar follows directly the way the other did the first time. After that last genuflection, the Thurifer will go around the MC, just like the first time, end up on the MC's right, both bow. The MC senses the priest with 3 double swings, returns the thurible to the Thurifer, who will turn around and go back through the door the way they came. And while the acolytes are getting ready for the lavabo, he will go down to the center below the steps, the long route, as you see here. He will bow to the MC, who will bow back, and he will do 1 double swing. Then bow afterwards. He will bow to the server group. They will bow back, and he will do 1 split double, first to the left, then to the right. He will bow to the laity. He will bow back. He will do 1 split triple, once to the center, once to the left, once to the right, bow, and they bow back. And then he will go back the long route to the side of the credence table. right at the beginning of the Sanctus, the Thurifer needs to gather both of the acolytes, get their candles, and lead them down. He will stop directly in the center of the altar behind the priest, with one on each side, and they will genuflect, and then spread out and kneel, and he will genuflect and leave and go the long route behind them back up to the thurible stand, grab the thurible. So it's usually acceptable for the Thurifer to put a little bit of incense in. He will go right in front of the credence table and kneel and await for the elevations. During the elevations, he does 3 triples. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That's both of the host and the chalice. As the priest begins the Our Father, the Thurifer stands, places the incense back on the incense rack, goes down a long way, and again meets the acolytes in the center of the altar. Who will meet him, and then they will genuflect together, and he will lead them back to get their candles back on the credence table. No matter how the communion lineup happens, depending on who's receiving and who's not, the lineup is made in such a way that either the MC or the thurifer will end up following the priest for the distribution to the faithful, and whoever is on the beginning of the line will end up helping the priest with the paten, whereas whoever is at the end of the line when processing out to kneel will bring the paten with them so that they can pass it to their left every time to receive until it reaches the final person who will take it down to help Father distribute. After the blessing, everyone stands for the last gospel, and then the procession starts. If everybody forgets, Thurifer, please remember. And the lineup this time is slightly different, and don't abandon everybody. Everyone lines up, and the Thurifer should be in the middle there. So it'll be the Crucifer and the two acolytes, and then the boat bearer will be to the left of the Thurifer, and then the MC will await the priest afterwards. All will genuflect at the right time, and then everybody turns inwards. So the Thurifer will turn inward towards the boat bearer and then walk out. Again, 5 pews in between.